Like spicy. What is spice roll?
Just like this.
Okay. So let's start with Joe. Joe looks super excited to start. Um, 27. 27. Okay, so what I was hoping you would do is go up to the board and write the formula needed for volume of a cross section of a square. Sort of a cheat sheet right next to it. I will be erasing that for the test.
We already wrote
Whoa.
it down.
What the heck?
What are you doing? We're in the hole.
I forgot about that.
Actually, I'll be coming in.
That was odd.
Colin, you will be the only. You will be the test. I'll be asking questions.
Okay, perfect. The numbers you put in place of A and B, what do they represent? So you have to have an A and a, like numbers on the integral symbol. What would they represent anyway? Okay, so basically the actual base equations that they give you. So the hard part about this one is the word base is used a couple times. You're going to have a base area, which is what all these squares will sit on. And that base itself, you have to have the bounds from beginning to end. If we're going vertically, then the bounds have to be X values. If we're going horizontally, the bounds have to be Y values. And then the base that's written in that equation there represents the line, like a line of a cross section that sits on the base area. And most of you are pretty familiar with that by now, it seems like. Quite a few of you were practicing it yesterday. Yeah,
If it's like, if the squares and rectangles are gonna be perpendicular to the X axis, then it would be the X values for the bounds.
correct,
All right.
correct. So perpendicular to X axis, X values.
And then perpendicular.
And I don't, no, none of these, that should be the wording for all of them. So I can't think of a different way it would be phrased. Perpendicular to Y value or Y axis would be Y values.
For the, not necessarily for a square, but for any sort of shape, would you have?
What the
your
heck?
equation For the base, if it was perpendicular to the x-axis, would it be in terms of x?
Wait, say it again.
If you had, if it was perpendicular to the x-axis, would your equation for the base be in terms of x or y?
That base or the base area? Like the base of the square or the base shape that they sit on?
The one that they sit on.
Still should be in X's. It should be Y equals. Now, what is going on with this? What are you trying to do up there?
Oh, yeah, but like that. Something.
Are you just trying to charge it? Okay. So if I were you, I would just write little things on this that you feel would help you. So I'm assuming it sounds like some of you guys wrote perpendicular to x-axis would be X values, perpendicular y-axis would be Y values. That's generally the point of what you try to do with an outline or an organizer is you write things that would help you.
The difference with a rectangle, it would be just the integral from A to B of the base times the height.
Yes,
So it would instead of being, would it still be base squared? or
Nope.
would it Just be base times.
yep. Now, I feel it only fair to test you on the questions that you're going to get on the AP test. So on the AP test, you're only going to have a square or an isosceles right triangle with the leg on the base, or a semicircle. You will not have rectangles or triangles that are different orientation. So it does say squares or rectangles.
It will be square.
Yeah, I'm not going to directly say that, but yeah,
I get what you're putting.
rectangles won't be on there. So that's why I only had him write the square formula up there. Anything else about question number one somebody might want to ask about?
When it's
What?
perpendicular to the y-axis, you put the equation in terms of x, correct?
In terms of y. So I think you meant x equals.
Oh, yeah, that's
Yep.
what I meant, x equals.
Yeah, so if you say in terms of x, that would mean all the variables used are x. So that's y equals.
Okay, so when it's perpendicular to the y-axis, you put it as x equals,
Yes,
put it in terms of y.
yep, yep. God, I can't read that at all. Volumes with cross sections, triangles and semicircles. Okay, so I didn't mention anything about the one on number one where it said calculator. What is going on with that? This is going great today. On number one, it says calculator. So this is set up the exact same as the last test was, where a majority of the test is set up to be allowed to use your calculator. So you'll be asked to write two answers. The first answer would be the equation that you would type in the calculator to get the answer. The second thing would be the actual answer.
If we have something where it's like a -0, you told us to practice writing that, but do we need to include that in our equation on paper?
You mean like what you would type in the calculator?
Yeah.
I'll get it. I'll understand.
Okay.
I only demonstrated show it all the time just so you get used to it.
Okay.
What is this doing? It's moving so strange. Apparently that's all farther it's going. Okay, so number two says exact by hand. I believe it's question 2 and 3 that say that. That's just referring to the fact that I need all of the work shown. Now, you can certainly use your calculator to kind of verify or check your own work. But like the answer to number 2 should be written as like 4 pi if it has a pi in the answer. I guess if it's a triangle, it won't have a pi, but you know, semicircle would.
For the actual integral itself, like going from the, because like where we would, if we had pi, we would like normally plug it into our calculator and then just add pi. You want us to actually do the work for the integral right now?
Yeah, and you can use your calculator to check it. Sure. Joe, who are we calling on for the next one? Okay, Josh. Do you think you can write down the 2 different formulas we need? The one for the isosceles right triangle with a leg on the base, and a semicircle with a radius on the base. Okay, if you need assistance, it's written right next to the board. Oh, I don't know. What is it doing? Huh. Nope. So there's only one type of triangle that you will have on there. Yep. Yep, perfect. That's the one. So I understand that when you guys are practicing these in Khan Academy, I don't even think, like, I've seen very few of these questions in Khan Academy that had the leg on the base. It's possible it might not even be in there. I don't really understand why, but it's, you know, it doesn't matter. They do definitely have plenty of semicircle ones. And those are pretty much the same, no matter how it's set up. The triangle ones are the only ones that are kind of different. You can just write it as radius, that's fine. Yep. That's less confusing. Okay. Let's see. So number 2 has the exact same details as number 1. If it's perpendicular to the x-axis, it would be all x values. If it's perpendicular y-axis, all y values. Anything somebody wants to ask about number 2? Yeah.
How do you know when it's base or base divided by 2?
So I thought about that one a lot more last night. I couldn't think of an example where it's just going to be base. So the only thing I can think of is in my head, I was doing the ones that were symmetrical and kind of cut in half. So the radius would still be base divided by 2, but when you cut it in half like that, it's still base divided by 2, but it kind of looks like the base. So I couldn't think of an example that would just be the base and not. So it should always be base divided by 2. And I don't know, are you okay with knowing that there are some that is basically like a symmetrical one where you guys have the option of how you want to calculate it? I don't care if you calculate the entire thing from beginning to end or if you double half of it. Because a lot of you, I've noticed on the tests, absolutely kind of mimic how Khan Academy explains things. And, that's good and bad at the same time. But if you want to do it that way, that's fine. I'm not going to mark it wrong. If what you're doing is correct, I'm fine with it. So no other kind of questions for number 2? These seem to be the ones that most everybody was practicing yesterday. Okay, and then number 3, I believe, is the same as number 2. No, number 3 and 4 are the same, right? Yeah, 3 and 4 are the same type of question. Number 3, there we go. Number 3 is just going to be, you have to show your work, but you can still use your calculator to kind of verify your own work. Number 4 is the one where you're just going to write the equation that would be typed in the calculator and then the decimal answer. Josh, who's going to help us next? Kevin? Okay. What do you think? Do you think you can put into a formula up there that we can use? Yeah, okay. Otherwise, you don't forget that you have a full support group that's willing to back you up.
Ready and able.
Yep. Otherwise, yes, there's always that. Okay, now underneath that, so that equation is perfect. So disk method is all going to have the same formula, integral of pi r squared. How do you find the radius? Nope. Yes. So that's why I wanted to make sure that we wrote that up there. So underneath that formula, let's put r equals. Now, it can either be f of x minus 0 or 0 minus f of x. F of x minus 0. Or 0 minus f of x.
And that depends on where it is.
If it's above the x-axis, oh, I shouldn't even say x-axis because it could be x or y. Basically, the function minus 0 if it's in the positive quadrant. Or if it's in the negative quadrant, it's going to be 0 minus the function. And that could be f of x or f of y, depending on which orientation it is. Now, for this one, it has to be one of those two because it's being off of the x or y axis. So the washer method or the next disk method ones, we rotated around an axis other than x or y axis. So in that case, it wouldn't be a 0.
So when do you know if you need to switch it from y equals or x equals?
So it would say revolving or rotating around the x-axis. In that case, it should be all X variables again. So that would be Y equals.
So it's just the opposite.
Yep. So if it's being rotated around the Y axis, the equation needs to be X equals. Yep. And you can certainly write that on your own notes if that helps you. That's perfect. You're done. Yep. Totally up to you. I'm not going to fill this out with a lot of information. I'll let you guys kind of decide what you want on yours. I know some of you don't like using organizers or, look at notes and things like that. Everybody's study is slightly different. But 3 and 4 are the same question, just one's by hand, one's on calculator.
How many questions are there?
7, 8, 7, I don't remember. I know it's not more than 2 pages, so it can't be more than 8.
Are the questions gonna look like this, or like they're,
They're in this order, that type of question. Is that what you're asking?
like, are they gonna be like in the boxes like this?
No. No, it's kind of a normal test where it's almost identical format as the last one, if you remember it. Yeah. This test was intended to be taken in class. But I didn't necessarily want to kind of, screw you guys out of a day. So I kind of thought we should have 2 AP prep days minimum. And I also thought it would mess you up if I made an AP prep day tomorrow and took the test Tuesday. I thought you'd forget a lot by Tuesday, which I know you would. Even though you guys would pretend like you would study Monday night, you would study Tuesday morning. I know the minority would study, probably a couple days over the weekend and they'd be good, but that'd be the small portion of the class. Yeah, I'm not planning on thinking of anything of school over the weekend either. It's okay. I'm not blaming you guys or judging you. I was just being realistic. Anything on 3 or 4 that you want me to talk about or bring up? Okay. Question 5 is volume with a disk method, but it is not on the X or Y axis. Yeah, go ahead.
So like, I'm going back to what my mom said, that was a good question. So when it's revolving around other axes, is the y-axis like let's take it x equal, like is that still?
So it's not going to say revolving around the Y-axis. Now it's going to say revolving around X equals something.
So then it would be X equals.
Yeah, so
So it's always X equals.
So it's gonna be the same.
the phrasing is going to be different.
If it's revolving around X equals, it's X equals, and if it's revolving.
So X equals,
That's being opposite.
X equals is a vertical line.
It's like a Y.
Yeah,
So it's gonna get rather than the classroom.
so it will be phrased different. That's a good point. It'll be phrased different. That's honestly why I try to think about it as vertical and horizontal. Because if I start trying to memorize X or Y, it just messes me up personally. Yeah. Yeah, if in your head you think it's parallel to the Y-axis, that'd be okay too, something like that.
I didn't write it in time, but it's the only difference in number 4 is that it's calculated.
Yes.
Yeah.
So will the test be one of those that we can take anytime? Good question, Jackson. The test needs to be taken tomorrow before midnight. I wanted to make sure it was tomorrow because I kind of feel like a lot of you would, you'd forget a lot of stuff by the time you needed to take it. So I feel like fresh in your head, do it anytime tomorrow. I think it opens up at 6 a.m. and then closes at midnight. It is set up so that when you open up question number one has the PDF of the test that you can open in a separate tab. And then question number 1 also is where you're going to upload all the work. So I know it's more annoying from your perspective to upload within the same test, but I'm guessing you're probably fairly used to that by now. Like you've probably done it enough on various classes that you're okay with it. The easiest way to do the uploading, if you're using your Chromebook, is to use your phone to take pictures. And then from those pictures, you open and make a new Google Doc. And then you insert the pictures into the Google Doc. And then on your Chromebook, you download it as a PDF. It's super annoying, but that's pretty much what I've heard from most students. That's the most straightforward method. Now, if you're not using your Chromebook, it's probably a lot easier. It's just because of the way Chromebooks store things, like they have a hard drive, but they don't really let you use it as a hard drive. That most students kind of find confusing. So if you're using your own computer, go ahead and do it however you want. Yes, I think it's 90 minutes. So I made it plenty of time. For 7 questions shouldn't be an issue. But yeah, there is a time limit to upload the work with it. So I kind of added like 20 minutes to upload work if anybody's having difficulties. And then I think not everybody was in here when I said it. I don't remember when I said it now. I'm not going to look at Khan Academy until Tuesday while you guys are working on some of the AP prep things. So I'm going to put your score in Tuesday during class. So you've got a while to do that if you want. It's basically only if you're not happy with your score. Maybe you're going to take your test and feel like you did great. And in that case, your Khan Academy score probably won't matter. Maybe you'll take your test and you feel like you did horrible. Well, in that case, then maybe you want to boost up your Khan Academy score, something like that. I figure you'll know more after the test how you feel like you did. Is there anything on 5 that we should write up there? Melanie, you're
Mr.
writing.
Cloud.
Is this for a different class?
Somebody got the notes written down.
All right. Did somebody try to ask something?
Yeah, you're not adding any points to Khan Academy, right?
Say it again. It's coming out really quiet.
You're not adding any points to Khan Academy, right?
Correct. Correct. I'm not adding any points to Khan Academy.
Okay.
So whatever score you have, that you'll know what you have. It's intended to take the unit test. Where like last unit, we just didn't have time for it, so I added 20% to make up for the unit test.
So we should take the unit test?
Correct. Do everything in the unit. Videos don't count towards your score though. Just assignments. Okay, Melanie, the reason I was calling on you to go up there and write this stuff. Yes, so for question 5, what formula are you going to use to find the volume?
Same one.
Correct. But underneath, we're going to have to write the radius slightly different.
It's just, X minus whatever the number is, or.
Yep.
number minus it.
Yeah, I'll tell you how to write it. But you're correct. So it's still just pi r squared because it's a single circle. You wrote, it looks like you wrote pi squared.
That's the cursive R.
Okay, okay. So r equals, r equals. Now, if it's not on the X or Y axis, the radius is going to be f of x minus the axis of symmetry, so AOS. Or axis of symmetry minus f of x. And it basically only matters which one is on the top or bottom or right or left. But it's always got to be that one of those two situations. Now, if you want to write top minus bottom or right minus left, that's correct all the time. I thought it might be helpful to write it like this for our outline or review. I didn't know if this would be easier or more difficult to follow. It's always going to be top minus bottom, right minus left. And sometimes the lines are the X and Y axis, sometimes they're the axis of symmetry. It's always different. Now what I will do is write this smaller. Oh, what?
I thought you were supposed to be the support system.
Yeah, you know
You're fired, Connor.
Does this say,
Finn hired me.
does this say group?
I'm the mafia boss.
That's group? Perfect.
I've been thinking about starting practicing.
I'll join you.
Really? Colin would be the brain. No, he's not the brain.
Colin would be the
He's
brains.
boss.
We're gonna money launder a piece of it.
Oh,
Totally, totally not illegal. piece of it.
Colin,
You thought about
really?
I have.
That's high on blast.
Okay, so Colin, let's keep you occupied so that you're not talking about your new business. On number 6, can you go up there? Oh, go ahead. Sorry, Milan.
So, is it the same, like, if it's going around the x-axis, is it supposed to be y equals, is that the same?
Yep, that's gonna be the same for every problem on the whole test. If you're working vertically, so like if your cross section is vertical, then it's always, everything's gonna be written with X's. If your cross section is horizontal, everything's written with Y's.
All right.
Okay, so what formula are we gonna use for disk method? I think that says, no, washer method.
We're gonna use pi r, big R squared minus pi small r squared.
Perfect.
Can we write it?
Yes.
Okay.
Colin.
It is amazing the different styles of writing.
Wow.
I missed something
What
already.
is that? Wow.
Well, just make sure you patent your own font so that, people can buy it. It
It was
is,
older than that.
I see. Wait. What is big R and little r?
Big R is like the outside one, like the top or the right. Right, I wrote that down.
Good, yep,
Where do I write it?
underneath. Big R.
Top.
How can you guys be so disorganized?
It's very easy.
I feel like he has like the highest grade in his class and.
Yep.
Yeah.
But still disorganized.
Yeah.
That's
Clearly it works for
Um,
some domestic violence.
It basically, yes, everybody's brain works differently. So let's erase that.
Do you want me to write it for you?
No, because then it's cursive and we can't read it. Yep.
Cursive's not that hard. to read.
The R, that's-
You
Let's,
literally wrote B of X. You can't tell me
That's
that's not
F
a.
of X.
That's a fancy B.
Connor's right, that's a B.
big R equals is what I wanted you to write. You're gonna write words after it, so leave space. Okay.
I know you're.
There's more than enough space.
Okay, so big R is from the axis of symmetry to the outside.
That's an F.
Good enough.
Little r,
This is an F.
axis of symmetry to the inside or to the object. I think to the object is how we wrote it in class. Whoa, what the heck happened there?
Touch the bar.
It's magic. Mafia magic.
Now, and most of you seem pretty comfortable knowing what big R and little r is at this point. But who should we go with?
Good, Ben.
Okay, Finn,
This guy.
Or Connor.
No,
I got it. I know how
Finn.
to do Finn.
What's up?
So we basically have two separate kinds of, ooh, that was close.
You're not supporting Finn. I do it now.
Yeah, you should support him over here.
We'll take it, yeah.
Okay, we have two separate kinds of formula. You don't have to write anything up there. Oh, all right. We have two separate kinds of formulas. Disk method, washer method.
Right.
If you're looking at a picture of a problem,
Yeah.
so I have a picture drawn for each problem on the test. How do you tell the difference between disk method and washer method by looking at the picture?
With washer method, there's gonna be two. different things, Right?
R is not going to be drawn on the picture for you.
No, there's gonna be, sorry, two different equations.
There's two different equations for both. Yeah, okay, that's okay. Take a whisper. Yep.
No, I know, and there's a gap. between-
Okay, that works. Between what though? Yeah, maybe you just didn't know how to word it.
Yeah, like the brand. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we just got trademarked. Way to go.
We're laughing at you, man.
I've been trademarked.
So disc method, your shape sits directly on the axis of symmetry. Washer method, your object will have space between the axis of symmetry and your object, which we could call the gap. And we just got trademark copyrighted.
By the crime syndicate.
Yeah, I guess the exclamation point might help us.
Guys, apples, peaches.
We can copyright with the exclamation point.
Oh, it stands for grapes, apples, peaches. We're a
Sure.
Fruit loving crime syndicate.
Does anybody have any questions on 6 for washer method? I feel like these are the ones you guys practice the most, and you probably feel more comfortable with the last 5 questions on the test. The first 2 dealing with the cross sections of shapes are what it seems like you feel more uncomfortable with. And if that's the case, that's good. I mean, that's most of the test is this. And then the last, okay, I can't move the screen. There we go.
I think how the handling up with this.
Yeah, that's right.
And then we got to the wrong letters and like.
I have really pretty handwriting.
Alyssa, do you have good handwriting? Oh, that doesn't sound
I
confident.
can write in not.
Yours is good handwriting. It's just not
Well, I
legible.
can write in not.
It's just not legible.
Can I at least show my handwriting?
Sure, you already wrote good.
But that wasn't my regular handwriting.
Yeah, he's got good.
All right, all right.
All right, we'll try to get.
So what would be the formula, even though it's the same?
No, it's the same.
Oh, it's number 6.
Well, I was just gonna write my name.
Yeah, but is number 6 calculator or?
So your name doesn't help our organizer that much. No. What are you, why are you writing your name?
That is not a cursive capital F.
Well, not a B.
Well, that's pretty
It's
good.
not a B either, is it?
I feel like you're not super focused for the test tomorrow.
No, he's ready.
Just, oh, the answers are gonna be.
Did you even know the test was tomorrow?
Checkmate.
There we go.
No, I know this.
Okay, excellent. Now you erase that. Let's write what we're supposed to write.
Move out of the way so no one got to see.
Okay, what formula do you use for the washer method on 7?
For the wash method,
Number 7.
or on other axes, it's just gonna be the same thing.
Mhm. Mhm.
You're too tall.
No, it doesn't affect it at all. Hard part about Smartboard is learning to write off to the side.
It is kind of-
Oh, I'm left-handed, so it's not that
It's the same left or right.
Yeah, same difference.
Left hand, you stand on the right hand side. Right hand, you stand on the left hand side.
hard. Stand away, put this.
That's it. Perfect.
But then you couldn't talk to the class at the same time, talking to the board.
Okay, how about at this point, I feel like you guys are okay with most of the questions that are on there and all that. Is there anything about the test that you want to ask? Okay, so it needs to be taken tomorrow, only tomorrow. It opens up at 6 a.m., closes at midnight or 11:59, whatever. I don't care when you take it. You have 90 minutes. So once you open the test, then it starts the timer. Basically, the test shouldn't take you 70 minutes. 70 minutes was the original, like a class period, was the original timer. And then I added time on because some of you have issues uploading. We're not going to meet live because everybody could take it at whenever they want. So I'd actually be surprised how many, like, I'd be surprised if there's more than a couple people that take it during class time. But I will be on all day on the computer. So somebody's having fun with the buzzer. If you guys have questions, either email or Schoology message me. And I generally get notified of those on my phone right away. So even if I'm on the computer, I'll at least be notified that I get messages. So I'm assuming if you have questions, it'll be while you're taking the test. Like maybe all of a sudden something's not working or, you know, whatever, or maybe your internet shuts out and then. I believe Schoology, usually if you have an internet outage, lets you open if you leave everything open and your internet comes back on, I believe it lets you open it right back up or something too, correct? Oh, you guys haven't run into that?
Last time I took.
You've been very lucky then.
I didn't have a submit button. So,
All right, that's going good. Okay.
and then it timed out, and my teacher said she didn't receive the test after it timed out until 12:55. So she thought I cheated.
Yeah, Schoology's got issues.
Yeah.
So if you got, how about this? If you guys run into problems, just let me know right away. How about that? If everything goes normal, it's not an issue. Just get a hold of me if you have problems. With the disclaimer, I will not be answering anything after 3:30. I immediately will be shutting off all electronic form of communication with the school so I can have my vacation weekend too.
Where are you going this weekend?
Nowhere.
Oh, vacation.
I just will not be in school mode.
Staycation.
Yes, staycation. My brain absolutely needs a rest at this point.
Oh. Pues,
And then Tuesday, when you guys come back, we will start talking about things for the AP test. So I basically have 2 days worth of things that I can talk about, and then that's pretty much going to be it. Any kind of questions? Okay, again, we are not going to be meeting over Zoom tomorrow. And obviously we have Monday off, if somebody didn't know that yet. So don't message me Monday morning saying, where's the Zoom meeting? Or I guess you'd come to school and find out nobody's here. Yeah, I know, you go, okay.
I've done that.
We don't have school Monday.
first day of this trial.
You know, I was early that day, by the way. I was really.
How early?
No.
I
I-
mean, you were an
drove in there
entire
and
day
there was
early,
no one in
so.
the parking lot. I'm like, that must be really early.
Okay. We got about a half hour left. I didn't check Khan Academy yet. I have a feeling a lot of you aren't finished. Some of you absolutely are finished. Eric's here. Well, good job stepping over the court.
How are you this morning, guys?
Thanks.
Just miss the support system, believe me.
Well, because she writes B's.
Okay, yep, we're done with the review. I will stop the recording.
Illegal pizza. Illegal
There's
pizza
a
chains in the
difference
gap.
between a cursive B and a cursive pad. And if you don't know that difference, then probably. just-
That's because when I was in elementary school, they stopped teaching cursive.
Wait, you didn't learn?
They stopped teaching it when I was in.
Yeah, they actually don't teach it anymore.
So I know how to write my name in cursive to sign checks.